Yeah, but you invest all this money into training them and they're around all of your clients. How do you know they're not just going to steal clients from you? And the right person is not going to steal clients. And proof of that, I have an employee, her name is Suzanne, and I love her dearly. She came to us and said, hey, this dude that I was just at, if you knew Suzanne, you'd understand this is how she talks. And that's one of the reasons that I love her so much. She's like, this dude's house that I was just at was trying to hire me to come after hours to come clean the patio or something like that. And I kept telling him, no, we don't do that. I could get fired. And he's like, oh, they're never going to know. And she's like, no, they are going to know because I'm going to tell them when I get back to the office. So in that instance, we actually let go of the client and we bonus the employee that came and told us about it, because she could have very easily gone, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to make a few extra bucks and do this after hours. What are the chances that I'm going to get caught? But she didn't, because she loves our team and she loves our culture.
That's being an employee first company.
All right. Welcome back to Our Business Shenanigans, where strategy meets sarcasm and entrepreneurship gets real. Hosted by myself, Jen, and my partner in crime, Nicole, this podcast dives into the wins, the fails, and all the messy magic that comes with running a business.
Last week, we covered all the ways staffing can go totally sideways, mutinies, social media drama, and employees from hell. But today, we're flipping the script.
Yep, this episode is about what happens when it all goes right. The dream team moments, the times that your employees have your back, the growth, the loyalty, and the culture that you build when you finally get it right. So if you've ever had an employee who made your life easier, not harder, this one's for you.
All right, well, I'm excited to record this episode. If you haven't watched last week's episode, I need you to stop what you're doing, go watch that, and then come right back to this one, because this one is essentially a part 2 to that one, but more of the positive. Last week, we really shared our defining moments of business, the moments that were hard, that we had to put on our smiles and get back to work. So
pull up our big girl panties.
Yes, of course, our skivvies. So last week I shared one of the biggest staffing disasters and how rebuilding felt impossible in the moment. I did share how I didn't even want to get out of bed at the time. I had an office person starting and it was their first week in the office and they got to witness all the chaos. And if it wasn't for that person in the office, I probably would have thrown in the towel, but I knew I had to put on my biggest smile possible and show up for the rest of my team. So
because that's what we do as bosses, right? Like, we have to just hide when things are going wrong and just have a strong front.
I have employees depending on a paycheck. I have clients depending on their house to get cleaned. I had a mission, right? I had purpose. Right. So that kind of got me through it. But we're going to go over the right hires that we've made post-mutiny and how they set a new tone. So with that, I will say, I think the biggest change, because it's so long ago, it's actually like I have to dig to think what is so different now. Going back when I hired the employee that I highlighted last week, she had cleaning experience, but we didn't have like an official interview process, so to speak. Now what's different is we have a whole vetting process, a whole interview process. We ask the same questions and we have an employee avatar of what we're looking for, right?
Right. Well, and you're no longer hiring out of desperation. You're not in that mode of, oh my gosh, I just need somebody to work for me.
Absolutely. Like cleaning experience doesn't even matter to us anymore. Right now we're hiring character.
Yeah.
And when I look back at some of the hires I had 2-3 years ago, if I would have interviewed them in today's process, they wouldn't have made the cut. And that's just how much we've grown. We have a more defined outline of exactly what we're looking for. We have statistics on what is a good fit in our team, right? And I cannot stress the difference it makes having someone accountable, communicative, and truly invested into the company, right?
Right.
Yes, we clean. There's nothing glorifying about scrubbing a toilet, so to speak. But when you have somebody that shows up to do the dirty work, but they have a smile on their face and they do it with pride, that's irreplaceable. That's what we're looking for. That's the character we want. Somebody that has pride in their work and serving their community.
Right. You got to have that servant's heart to do what we do, because like you said, it's not pretty. And there are a lot of days where it's going to be like really a crummy job when you walk into a house and it's like completely destroyed and you have to make it right. But those people that have that servant's heart come in and go, man, I'm going to make this person's life so much better.
Yes. And that is something I tell my team too. Like we talk all the time and I tell them that sometimes it can feel defeating when you go into a house and you could really work your butt off and you could have made a 99% difference, right? But that one little thing that you missed, it can feel defeating when you
Yeah.
get the feedback that, hey, you missed the backsplash or something. And it's like, man, I just scrubbed the hardest bathroom of my life. But at the end of the day, it's taking that feedback and growing from it and knowing that we're all in the same mission, right?
Right.
It makes
Well, and
such, sorry, go
I,
ahead.
no, I was going to say, and we try to really drive it home to our team as well that like when you go into somebody's house that is completely destroyed, because there are times you go in, it didn't get there by accident. There has been some sort of life change. Usually it's a health issue. Usually it could be a mental health issue. It could be depression. It could be, somebody has been going through cancer or something like that. When you walk in, they've already taken a shot to their pride to call us. So it's our job to go in and make it right with no judgment whatsoever. And it's hard to find people that are going to be like that. They have to truly walk in and go, oh my gosh, this isn't the worst we've seen. We're going to take care of it. No big deal.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, we've seen it all. My
Yeah.
house, it sees it all, right? I'm busy. So I'm
Right.
grateful for the help that I get. But after going through a hard, challenging time, it gives you a whole new perspective and a whole new appreciation for when things go right, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I can't even stress the difference it makes having a team that is accountable, that communicates, and they are truly invested. Makes it's night and day.
Yeah.
And I will say that to give some little tidbits for anyone that maybe crossed boundaries that I expressed that I crossed in the last episode. The biggest one is we have an entirely different hiring and onboarding process. Like I said, we have the employee avatar, we have these questions, we're hiring character, not skill. Things like that. But even when we're onboarding a new employee, we sit them down. They come in for like a day zero. We
Mm-hmm.
sit them down and we spend like almost like 2.5, 3 hours with them just going through who we are as a company, what our mission is, what our purpose is. We go over how the pay works. And we have some hard and fast rules that we communicate to them. One being in the first 30 days, no absences, no exceptions. Like, I'm sorry, we've had to let people go in the first 30 days that we had really high hopes for. And that is not to be a jerk, but that is because statistically speaking, we've gone back, we've pulled numbers, we've hired a lot of people.
Right.
Everyone that we have ever fired for attendance issues had an attendance infraction in their first 30 days. So I'm saving us a whole lot of headache. I'm saving you from wasting your time. If in that first 30 days you miss a day, unfortunately, statistically proven, I'm going to end up firing you within 6 months for the
Right.
same issue. So let's just go ahead and cut the cord now. Those are
Right.
hard and fast rules. Little things like that, right? If you
Well,
can't,
in our world, absenteeism is just straight chaos because it's not like, you work at Walgreens and if you call out, there's 3 other people on the floor that can cover for you. In our world, we follow a solo cleaning model. So if you call out, then there's nobody to do those jobs. We are now shifting clients' schedules. We are shifting your teammates' schedules. It just creates chaos all over the place.
oh yeah, that's the number one reason to lose a client is when you call them after they just spent, the whole night before prepping for their cleaning, and then you have to call them and say, I'm so sorry, we can't come today. They've
Yeah.
already left their door unlocked. We have people that they board their dog because say the dog's a little aggressive or something. We love pets. We clean houses with pets, but there are a few people that board their dogs for cleaning, and that is wasted money for them if we
Right.
can't get to their house. And there's just so much. I mean, you got to think about it every week. If you spend a few hours scheduling, then every day you got to call out. That's even more time pivoting the schedule. You're hurting the team that's scheduled to be off at 4 and you're playing Tetris and changing their jobs around to where now they're not getting off till 5:30. It's just chaos.
Yep. So when
It's
you cut them
absolute
off,
chaos.
when you cut them off early because of an absence in 30 days, you are respecting the rest of your team by not putting them through all of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And also, I will say another thing that we do is we need someone that can follow direction. We get pretty clear outline directions. If we hire you, I mean, it starts at the interview, but I'm not even going to go into all that.
Right.
But when we hire you, we send you a basic onboarding email with like 3 steps, complete your new hire paperwork, come in on this day, wear this for uniform, yada, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
It's really clear. If they do not complete those steps, so we've had people show up for their onboarding, and when they've showed up, their rushing to hurry up, like while they're sitting down on the clock and fill out their I-9 or whatever, right? And it's like all of this was given to you a week ago. We've run the statistics on that, and the people that didn't follow the direction and have it completed before they came in, it was like 9 times out of 10, we fired them by day 3 of training.
Wow.
We haven't had a single person make it to 30 days that has not that followed the steps in the email pre-hire, right?
Right.
So, I mean, we even like budged it. We were going through a season where we were growing. Our clients were just multiplying and we needed to hire. So I think it was like 2 people. We made an exception. We're like, oh, they seem promising. Maybe they're just going through it. We don't know what they're going through in their personal life. We made excuses for them. And we let them do it. And it wasn't even, I mean, one guy made it out of the training week plus a few days and we had to let him go.
Yeah.
So it goes to show that it's like, all right, we're back to sticking to following direction being a clear indicator. So it's little things like that. And we're not following our heart. That is where we were deceived before. Before, what I would have considered my top employee, my most engaged employee, was actually what I would classify C player today, right? But I'm following the statistics. I'm following what has proven in the past.
Yeah.
So
that's why I had to remove myself from the hiring process, because I am drawn to people that need to be helped and need to be fixed. And that is just like a recipe for disaster. So I had to remove myself from the hiring process.
Yeah. And it's good to have that filter, right?
Yeah.
Those filters are definitely needed because your heart needs to be in loving your team and being a visionary for your team. So sometimes you got to be removed from the hard conversations to do that.
Yeah.
And also after the mutiny, I remember when I started to see the light at the end of the tunnel, because it was a lot of damage control. Because remember, she contacted my entire staff. I mean,
right.
It was
And
like
she left with half of them.
Yeah, at the time. Yeah. Well, I didn't share that one of the people she took was our second trainer. We only had 2 trainers. Yeah, she already had one foot out the door and we were already kind of working through that. So I wasn't hurt by the people she took with her. I was not hurt nor surprised.
But it's still a big blow.
Yes. So it was a big blow. So I had to pivot. And I remember making our first trainer. And the person that we promoted to trainer after that, she was dependable. That was the number one thing. Cleaning, she was okay, right? But she was dependable and she showed up and she asked questions. She communicated clearly. And I was like, those are all the characteristics of a trainer, right? So we made her a trainer. She is still with me today, almost 3 years later.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
that's a testament.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah. And she knows the company inside and out almost. Right? Love her. Love her. So she is always learning. She's even almost 3 years in, doesn't feel like she knows it all. And she asks more questions than she answers, if anything. And I really respect how much she truly wants to understand in everything inside and out. She takes pride in her work. She shows up every day. Thinks she showed up today and she's got a sore throat. And we're like, you need to calm down. Right? You need to calm down. But I share that to say that at first it was really ugly. That first month was a little hard. But once we kind of put everything into action, we had the action plan. I realized, okay, everything's going to be okay. Right?
Yeah. It feels so devastating in the moment and like you're not going to recover. Like I think back to, plenty of employee issues that we've had. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the worst. How am I ever going to recover from this? And then you come out the other side and you go, you know what? I'm stronger for it and we're going to be better for it. We know what not to do next time.
Yeah. I think also what really stung in that is, remember, I communicated I was the red flag because I crossed the boundaries. But when all of that happened, I lost one of my trainers, one of my employees, but I also lost what I thought was a good friend. That's where I crossed that boundary of professional and personal. But I lost a really good friend that I thought that I had. And we never even got to talk about it. Like when we got to talk was at an unemployment hearing, which didn't go in her favor. But all of that to say, it was really, I realized that even though I considered her a friend, if she truly considered me a friend, we could have talked, because now that everything has come out, she was given smoke and mirrors to kind of base her opinion. And it's crazy. And so all of that to say, that could be a whole nother episode of its own, but we're not going to do that.
No.
I I had to really reflect and realize the key traits that made a difference from then to today. The
Hmm.
first thing is when hiring, what we're looking for is somebody that can that has clear communication,
Yeah.
someone that takes initiative. This is the biggest one I cannot stress: reliability without babysitting. I'm not in business to micromanage. We pay
No.
what we pay so that you could be self-sufficient and self-managed,
Right.
right? I want to be able to
Nobody
give you
wants
this.
to be micromanaged.
No. Well, some people do. Some people thrive in micromanaging, and that we're just not the place for that.
No.
So we want to be able to provide you with the schedule and the training and the tools and that, and we communicate. Don't get me wrong, but I do not want to hold your hand. I do not want to have to come check every job that you do. Don't make me
Right.
do that.
Right. Do I have to go in and put all of the floor mats down behind you? Am I going to have to go straighten the dish towels behind you? That's a miserable existence.
Am I going to have to call every client after you leave and say, how was everything? Was it okay? Are you sure
Did
it
they
was
do a good
okay?
job?
Yeah. Are you going to leave me a bad review now?
Right.
You know?
Do you still love us? Are you still
Yeah.
going to stay with us?
I
Yeah.
don't want to have to call and offer a free cleaning, right?
Mm-mm.
Because then I'm just employing you for free.
Right.
Well,
No,
I'm
it's
paying.
costing you money.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but also the biggest thing is the heart. Are they bought into the mission and not
Right.
just the money, right? When it's just the money, it shows.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when you have the heart for it, the money just flows. So we have a technician. I just did her average wage in 6 weeks. Her average per hour was $29.90. And get this, no nights.
I know. Or weekend. Or do you have weekends? Do you guys do weekends?
We have one office on the weekends, so she was doing that, but I mean that's a 2-hour job.
Yeah. It's not like all day on the weekends.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, like in 6 weeks, your average was $29.90. And she asked for more work. She's a go-getter. So
Yeah.
that's why we gave her that. Otherwise, we would not have required that of her. But
Right.
that was just one. If I go run everyone else's numbers, they're about the same.
Well, and that's just the thing. You get people who go, I don't make that kind of money, and I have a college degree, and I have all of this. But our technicians work their butts off. They work very hard at what they do, and they're learning a skilled trade. They have to deal with chemistry. They have to worry about mixing products. They have to worry about using, what kinds of surfaces can have acidic cleaners, what kind can't, what kind you can use like a polish on, and what kind you can't. Like there's a lot of stuff that goes into it that people don't realize. Plus, we're sending them into your most private of places. Like this is your home. This is your sanctuary. Do you want us to just send people in that we're only paying $13 an hour? Like, I don't feel like that's a safe environment either.
Yes. And not to mention, they're the ones dealing with all these different personalities in person. We have some really
Correct.
amazing clients, and we have some clients that we have to tread lightly with, right?
Right.
And they're dealing with all these people and these different personalities in person. Not just that, I would rather pay the $29 an hour to the employee that is going to stay, to
Yes.
the employee that shows up. To replace them, I mean, we can do a whole episode on how much it costs to really replace an employee.
Right.
Right. I'd rather pay them more than offer $15, $17 an hour and have a high turnover. What comes with high turnover? High turnover comes,
Chaos.
yeah, you lose clients. They're sick of seeing all these different people. There's so many liabilities and risk. I'd rather keep the same people, train them once, and then we're happy and uphill from there.
Well, not to mention, I don't want our technicians to have to go work a second job.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
I want them, because it's such hard work, if they're working a second job in the evening or on the weekends, then they're going to be exhausted during the week and they're going to not do a great job out at our clients' houses. I want technicians that are going to show up and give their all every day, not because they are exhausted from working 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet.
And they're always tired. They call out more, you name it. And then we just talked about the chaos that comes from calling out, right?
Yeah.
So I think the biggest takeaways, if I were to summarize it, is when the playing field is fair and there's structure, that's gold.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, I feel like we have a really solid team right now. And we've got a couple of our team members who have been with us coming up on 3 years, I think, some of our longest ones, if not a little bit over. And like you said, I realized that I had a rock star team when I didn't have to micromanage. I wasn't calling at every job going, do you guys understand what you have to do? Is there anything you need help with? Do I need to come and, check up on you? Do I need to look over anything? Do you need me to come and do a house check or whatever? But also when I found the right trainers, like you were saying, the trainers in my mind really epitomize the culture, right? So if your trainers aren't a big part of your culture and they aren't bought in, that can just throw a wrench in everything that you do. And one of our trainers, her name is Taylor. She's amazing. And the thing that, like, the first time she ever came to me, because our company name is just Peachy Clean, she was with a trainee and she was like, she's just not a peach. And I was like, oh my gosh, she gets it. Like, she's just not a peach. That's right. She's not a fit for our team. And we put a lot of responsibility on our trainers' back to make sure that they are only bringing in peaches. We want people who are going to love our team, love our culture, and just be a good fit. And so the first time that I ever heard her say that was just like that moment of, oh my gosh, I've made it. That's so exciting. Another thing that I love is when you have the right hire, because I hear a lot of cleaning businesses go, yeah, but you invest all this money into training them and they're around all of your clients. How do you know they're not just going to steal clients from you? And the right person is not going to steal clients. And proof of that, I have an employee, her name is Suzanne, and I love her dearly. She came to us and said, hey, this dude that I was just at, if you knew Suzanne, you'd understand this is how she talks. And that's one of the reasons that I love her so much. She's like, this dude's house that I was just at was trying to hire me to come after hours to come clean the patio or something like that. And I kept telling him, no, we don't do that. I could get fired. And he's like, oh, they're never going to know. And she's like, no, they are going to know because I'm going to tell them when I get back to the office. So in that instance, we actually let go of the client and we bonus the employee that came and told us about it, because she could have very easily gone, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to make a few extra bucks and do this after hours. What are the chances that I'm going to get caught? But she didn't, because she loves our team and she loves our culture.
That's being an employee first company.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. And I have to say that from all of the chaos, there's always going to be a little bit chaos here and there. You're always going to have an employee that doesn't work out. There's going to be more wins than there are losses, but it's so freeing to be able to be not a prisoner to your business and not to be held hostage by an employee. There were so many years, like you were saying, you were hiring out of desperation. There were so many years that we were held hostage by an employee because we couldn't imagine letting him go, because who's going to fill that schedule? Because we didn't have the right practices in place. We didn't have the right interviewing process, onboarding, and all of that stuff. And onboarding now is, like you said, it's a week-long process, basically. Like, they go through the onboarding on that day 0, and then all week we are gauging them throughout the week to see if they're going to be a good fit for us. And I feel like that's made a huge difference in the way that our culture has been made, and the people that we bring on. We know by about day 3 if they're going to be a good fit. I think you said that earlier too. And if we let somebody go on day 3, it's not just in our best interest. We try to do it in their best interest too. If we know they're not going to be a good fit, they're probably still not going to be a good fit 6 weeks from now. But if I let them go on day 3, they still have applications out. They still probably have interviews set up, and we haven't disrupted that job search. 6 weeks from now, they are starting over again. And that's not fair to them either. So I felt like I finally had the right people in the right seats when I didn't have to worry about policing them. They were policing themselves. So when you do have the right people, they want everybody to succeed and they don't want the drama. So if you have somebody, like in your case, when you had the person who had the mutiny, when you have somebody like that who starts talking a little bit of that drama behind the scenes, the other teammates shut it down quickly because they realize that nothing good can come of that. They either talk to the person and say, listen, we're not going to do that. I'm going to talk to you like an adult and we're going to squash this. We're not going to use gossip and backbiting. Or they come to the office and say, hey, I think we need to have a conversation, all of us, with this person, because this is the stuff that I'm hearing on the jobs.
I really love everything that you pulled out of your takeaways, because one thing that I've said, I guess, since my mutiny that I didn't communicate is one thing that's changed now is when something happens, I had to mentally give myself a rule. When I know that I need to pull the plug on someone, my first rule is do not look at the schedule, because I will not be held hostage in my company. Prime example of that, I was getting induced September 19th. And that September, and everything was perfect, laid out, scheduled, done. You know, we had some busy days, but my office was good to go with in my absence. Well, on the 18th at 3 p.m., I got a text message that inside I was fuming, and I said I needed to let her. So what I did was I spent my last 2 hours in the office before my maternity leave. I went ahead and adjusted the whole schedule. And while I was delivering my son, my office manager was firing her.
Yeah.
And through that, like, I mean, we were booked. I only had to move 2 jobs, but it was worth it. If I would
Right.
have looked at the schedule before I made the decision, I would have said, well, keep her for about a week, da 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 da. But you've already put your middle finger up and said, screw this job and screw my team. She was screwing
Right.
over her teammates. And I take that personally, right? You were
Absolutely.
screwing over your teammates. And that's when I'm like, no, I'm not. I remember looking at my office manager and I said, I'm not going to be held hostage in my company again.
Mm-hmm.
And that is so liberating when you have a job that is so many people apply, right? So many
Yeah.
people want to work for us because we have awesome jobs to offer. I don't have to settle for less than what our team and our clients deserve.
Right.
So my feelings aside, and also I love that you touch on how Suzanne let you know about the client trying to hire her. We've had that happen a few times where our team lets us know, right?
Yeah.
And one client, I felt bad. It wasn't even her. It was her boyfriend or something made a slight
Oh, okay.
comment. So I had to call her and I said, look, we offer all these benefits. We offer paid time off, holiday pay. We pay for their health insurance, you name it, right? I said, our team loves their job. And just a reminder, there's a non-solicit clause where you'd owe me X amount of money if you stole my employee. So I
Right.
had to like kind of say that, but we've invested this training, we've invested this time, but our team loves their job. I'm sorry, but my team, they make more with me than they are starting out solo. They might get
Oh,
it a
yeah,
few years
absolutely.
in after they learn all the hurdles, but they're probably going to be working 70-hour work weeks, not to mention the money that they're going to have to dump into marketing and all their own supplies, you name it. My
Right.
goal is to pay my team more than I made solo.
Are you kidding? There are some weeks that my team makes more than I do currently. Like it's crazy. Like when you add in training and you add in the deep clean specialist bonuses and things like that, there are weeks that they are right up there past me, which I think is a testament. I don't know, to me, if I'm stupid or, if it's just because my team works that hard, but for sure they are making more than I made even 3.5 years ago when I was still in the field and had employees. Like I never paid myself or took home what I should have taken home. Like absolutely, it's crazy.
But they work
I
hard for it. They're on the
They
front
do.
lines.
They are, and like you said, it's not just like that cliche, oh, they love their jobs, they love working here. Like they are, like I say for us anyway, they bleed peach. Like our number one A players are always thinking about how to make the job better. Taylor sends me new tool suggestions all the time. Like if she's on TikTok and gets, sent down a wormhole of like cleaning stuff and she sees something that's really cool, she'll send it to me and we'll test it out, see if we like it or whatever. Susanna's brainstorming behind the scenes about, how we can do the vacation rentals that we service better because she came from a vacation rental background. Lauren, I think it was, that came to us and said, you know what, during training every morning, I think it would be really great to add just a 3-question to 5-question quiz about what they learned the day before to see how much they were paying attention. Like they're always thinking of ways to make things better for the company as a whole because they know when the company is better as a whole, then their job is better as a whole. So if you have an employee that has really changed the game for your business, tag them in the comments. We want to celebrate them with you and we want to shout them out and say, thank you for being such a great employee.
Yeah,
So
they're
how do you
hard to
know?
find.
They are. But how do you know if you've got the right people? Well, we've got um some little points, tips, whatever that helps you realize if you have the right people or not.
Yeah, I know. I messed up. I'll edit.
Meanwhile, I've got my kid back here who's like trying to sneak down the hallway.
I might just keep that blooper just so they could see how human we are.
Put it at the end, like with all the bloopers and everything. All right. So signs you've got the right people. How do you know once you've made that hire if you've got the right people or not? Well, one is they're going to take pride in their work.
They take initiative.
They're going to care about the client experience and protect your culture.
You breathe so much easier when they're on the schedule. You don't dread seeing their name up there.
Correct. They're going to care about the mission and the company, not just their job.
They make decisions that don't require constant babysitting.
This one I love. They are coachable and they take feedback like a pro. If you are not coachable, you're probably not going to be our employee.
They show up consistently, mentally and physically.
And the best one yet, you can finally take a vacation and not have a panic attack. Could you imagine being able to turn off your phone while you're on vacation and not have to go, oh my gosh, is the world blowing up back at the office?
The last vacation I went on, I did not take my computer and it was beautiful.
Right? It's amazing. So
But
yeah. Oh,
yes, you
yep.
can find good employees, but you have to build the kind of company that you want to work for.
Exactly. So what do we do to keep good employees?
Recognition. How a simple thank you can just change everything. Listen to feedback and adjusting. You want a culture where people are comfortable coming forward. You don't want to shut down everything that they say. You also have to notice the burnout before it blows up. A good tool to use is the book, How Full is My Bucket?
Hmm.
And people thrive in structured environments. It's when there's a lot of gray area, a lot of confusion, or a lot of favoritism that you're killing the morale of the rest of the team.
Right. And with that one, I like that you just said that because you can be a big company and not feel corporate. You by having policies and structure in place. When you have none of that stuff, there's too much room for people to be like, oh well, it doesn't matter. I'll get away with it this time or whatever. But you're also not having that such a strict culture where it's like, oh my gosh, I can't even. I have a sick kid home today, obviously. Just ignore him. But anyway, you don't have to be so corporate that you're like, oh my gosh, I don't ever want a big company because I don't want to be stuffy and corporate and nobody's going to love working there. There is a balance in between those. So the other thing you can do to keep good employees is regular one-on-one check-ins. Whether it's yourself or your manager or whoever you have, checking in with your team one-on-one to see how things are going. Celebrating those wins, big and small. Every time we get a 5-star review, we screenshot it and send it out in our team communication and like cheer on the person that got the 5-star review. Protecting your culture like your life depends on it. I am so protective of our culture because I feel like we have built a really amazing place to work and our team loves working there. We have people who had to stop working for us for one reason or another, family emergencies, medical emergencies, whatever, who have come back to work for us. And I think that that speaks volumes. And then helping your employees thrive outside of work with like enrichment type classes. This is one that I'm big on because if your employees are thriving outside of work, it's going to carry over into the job that they do. If their world is nothing but chaos once they leave work, that's also going to filter into what they do. So if we can be a part of helping to make their lives outside of work a little bit better, why wouldn't we want to do that?
I was in a culture class recently, and I love this. It really stuck with me. But she said, just like the laws are in place, right? Laws aren't there to punish people, they're there to protect people. Same with your
Right.
company. So think of it like the speed limit signs, right? The speed limits exist so that we're all going at the same pace, right? It gets
Yep.
really dangerous. You know, the world's not Autobahn, right? Imagine the chaos that would come from that. It's dangerous, right?
Yeah.
So I think that that is a good way to look at it is this handbook is our speed limit.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. I also love the saying that boundaries don't build walls; they show people where the doors are. So like we have all of these boundaries set up so you know the right place to be. So that's where the door is.
We have given out pips, and anytime we give out a pip, look, first off, if we don't want you on the team, we're going to fire you.
So
Okay.
hold on one second. For those who don't know, what is a PIP?
A performance improvement plan, right? It's
Gotcha.
just us documenting that we are going towards the same page together. This is the standard, this is the expectation, this is where we need improvement, right? We have given out pips, and I think I love this. We gave out almost 2 pips around the same time, is within the same month. The person that I kind of was like, their heart just wasn't in it, and it showed. She quit within a month. But then somebody else that we didn't think it was going to work. We loved her as a person, right? Her
Right.
personality. She turned around. She's one of our trainers today. She's one
Oh,
of our top cleaners. So it shows that a PIP is successful, that we are clearly communicating where we need improvement. So you
yeah.
either get better or you get gone.
Yeah. We had a very similar situation. We had to put somebody on a PIP. I think it was like the beginning of last year. And it during the conversation, she was like, "You're right. I'm sorry. I have been, in my head, I've been, this, that, or whatever." And completely different person. Like she's still with us. She's coming up on 2 years or just surpassed 2 years, I think, and is just a completely different person. And all because of that conversation. Had we not had that hard conversation with her, she would have just lost a job and we would have been out an employee and then we would have been replacing somebody. And instead we have an amazing A player now who I wouldn't want to lose.
Yeah. But real talk, people want to stay where they feel seen, supported, and challenged. Hot take, people who complain about not finding good people
Are probably not paying enough or probably don't have the best culture, or probably don't have clear boundaries and communications, or probably don't have real written policies and procedures. Like, I know all of that probably hurts some people listening, but every time I hear somebody on Facebook or somewhere complaining about not being, that nobody wants to work nowadays, millennials don't want to work, Gen Z don't want to work, whatever the new generation is, it's not that they don't want to work. It's that they now see their value and they understand that they should be making more than, minimum wage for the type of job that they are doing. Now, granted, there are minimum wage jobs out there, but for the type of work we are doing, it's not a minimum wage job.
Yep. And that hits home. Yep. You have to offer the place that you would want to work. I cannot stress that enough. So let's talk about how our changes have worked since our staffing chaos. What made all of these wins possible?
Well, for sure, better onboarding. Our onboarding, like, of all the things I am proud about in my company, I feel like our onboarding is so solid and we have it so documented. And I love how far we've come with our onboarding.
As long as you don't put in their mileage pay wrong. Or what was it?
Travel pay. We're not going to talk about that. Listen, okay? That's what happens when you overpay
For those
somebody.
That don't know, Jen overpaid someone by probably close to $2,000 over the course of like what?
$1,400 in
like 4 months, right? 3-4 months.
Over the course of about 4 months. And we told it to her and said, hey, look, this was our mistake. And corporate world would have been like, you owe us that money. Sorry, we're going to start taking it out of your paycheck. Me, being the nice person that I am, sat back and said, oh, you know what? It's our mistake. I will eat it. We really, we don't want to put an undue burden on you. That was our fault, blah, 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 whatever. And literally the next week while I was away on family vacation, she quit with no notice.
How dare you take away the bonus she didn't earn?
Dare I?
Almost $30 an hour just wasn't enough.
Correct.
Clear communication and expectations. I think those are probably biggest changes for us over the years.
Yeah. Again, for me, it's holding the line on culture. We will do an episode specifically on core values, but our core values are, we are peachy. We're positive, ethical, accountable, consistent. We value health and safety. And my favorite one is you matter. If you don't fit those core values, then you don't fit us as a client and you don't fit us as an employee.
I still think that you should have went with the word yeet for the why.
Yeah. So as I was coming up with my core values, a little side note, I'll have to pull those back up because Nicole was trying to help me come up with my core values and the Y stood for yeet. So we'll have to go back and find those.
If you weren't peach, you're getting yeeted.
Yeeted out the door.
I'm so hip. My daughter hates it. Another reason why it's worked too is because now we hire for values and not just skills. That employee avatar goes a long way.
Right. Because we can train almost anybody to clean. I can't train you to have a good attitude. I can't train you to have integrity. I can't train you to be teachable or any dependable. Of that stuff. Correct. Yep. And then the last thing that I feel was a big factor in why it's working is I lead from a place that fosters growth and trust, or at least that's always my goal. So if I'm coming to you, it's a coaching session. It's a discussion. It's a, hey, how do we make this work together? What are your insights? Like, it's not just I'm a manager or I'm an owner and you guys are all underneath me and you're going to do what I say. Like we all work on this together and we can't grow without that trust and that type of leadership.
So all in all, through everything we've been through, what built us to the companies we are today, it wasn't luck, it was intentional. That's hard work and grit.
I don't know, Nicole, you're just so lucky.
I am. I'm so lucky. Let me tell you.
You got this big fancy house. You got your little cat that runs up and jumps up behind you every once in a while. You're so lucky.
He's the king of the house. Trust me.
I love it.
But how can we create a team that you can count on? Let's cover that one.
Yeah. So we've got some practical tips and strategy. You need to audit your current team, who's aligned and who's not. So even if you go into ChatGPT and say, hey, give me a grade sheet for my current employees that I can fill out for every single one of them, ChatGPT will come up with something. But sit down and honestly grade them. Like, figure out who is there for you and your company and who is not aligned. You might be surprised.
And know your company values and hire to match them. Again, that employee avatar.
Yep. This one is a big one. And it's one that most of us don't want to do. Don't ignore red flags, even with nice employees. You can be a nice person and still not a good fit for my company.
And reward initiative and accountability.
Yep. Let the wrong ones go and make room for the right ones. No matter how much it hurts and how much your schedule might like hate you after it, you need to let the wrong ones go and to make room for those right ones.
I say now we sing the praises of our rock stars, the moves that we'll never forget.
Yeah, I love it. So we have an employee now who she's been with us. She's probably coming up on 2 years now too. I have a lot that are right around that 2 year mark. And she came to us one day and she was like, I'm getting a little bit older. These are her words, not my words. I'm getting a little bit older and I'm not going to be able to clean forever because it's really hard on my body, but I want to die at this company. So you guys need to find a spot for me in the office. And I was like, that's really like that means a lot to me. And I've heard other employees say the same thing and it's kind of been relayed to me, but that means a lot. Like she loves our company enough that she wants to be here no matter what, whatever that role looks like.
I love that. And to be clear, the office is a pay cut from on the
It's a
field.
pay cut, but yeah, it's not a promotion.
It's a demotion.
Yeah.
But a rewarding one because you get to serve the team that you were a part of.
Correct.
So another thing is when we have techs that save the client relationships, the one that I told you about that we put on a PIP a year ago, when we have a client that's, say she's given us, we've had it happen twice now, they've given some feedback and you can tell that client's on the rocks. Like we had one ready to fire us. And we're like, give us one more chance. We assigned it to her. Now they're in love with their company again. But we had to prove that we were trustworthy. But we have this employee that we know can save the relationship because she does such a good job. I want to say it's been like 2 or 3 clients that we've assigned to her, and she has saved that relationship. They were ready to fire us.
That's awesome. Yeah, because in our world, you're only as good as your last clean. Like you could have delivered 2 years of phenomenal service, but you bomb one clean, and sometimes that's all it takes. Another one is if they catch big mistakes and fix it before anyone noticed. So especially like on those team jobs, when those A players are managing the rest of the team and they walk through the house and they see something big has been missed or they see something, has been broken or something like that, when they're the ones who go and fix it, using as a teaching moment as well, taking that technician in there to show them and then fix it before anyone has noticed. If they didn't go back and do those types of walkthroughs and things like that and just left the house, that could be a huge moment for the client as well.
Yeah, especially when the team shows up for their coworkers during a tough time. Right?
Yeah.
Say someone's not doing well. We had someone that had a medical emergency that was out for a little bit, not too long, but we had a player step up and willing to help,
Yeah.
We also, even my office manager, we joke and say she's a jack of all trades. She's a doula because we have so many pregnant people at this time. She was there for me. She was basically my doula in the background. But she's doing that for our pregnant techs right now too. So
yeah. Well, we've had that as well. We have a current tech who is out on medical leave. And when she went out, it was one of those situations where the schedule was full. And so for like 2 weeks, we had people working past 5 o'clock and they were happy to do so. We try our hardest to get everybody off by 5 every day. Most of them don't even work until 5. But for about 2 weeks, it was a pretty packed schedule and they were working past that. And we've had times where we've had techs who are out for medical emergencies where our team like raised money for them, brought in groceries for them, like did things like that, where it's not just, oh, that's my coworker. It's no, let's help take care of this person.
Yeah. And if you're one of our team members listening, you know who you are. We see you and we appreciate the hell out of you.
Yeah, you have no idea, guys, how much we love you.
So let's go into some confession time, the employee edition. What is the wildest and most amazing thing that an employee has done for you?
So on my birthday 2 years ago, or the day before my birthday, actually, my office manager, my husband, and one of my friends got together and planned a surprise birthday for me. And like they all showed up at my office and had like streamers and took me out to dinner, took me to get a pedicure, like completely caught off guard. I was completely blown away. They planned all of it behind my back and I had absolutely no idea what was going on.
I hope my office manager is listening to this right now and she's like, dang, I got to step my game up.
Right.
Dang, I need a petty. But I'm trying to think.
Do you have anything like that or a time where you almost cried from gratitude or relief?
Oh yeah. Like even when I was on maternity leave, when I had my son, he was in the NICU, which nobody plans for the NICU, right?
Nope.
So when that happened, my world was rocked. Before that, my entire office was taking bets on how long I'd be out. Like they had it at like 2 weeks. They were like, no more than 2 weeks, she's coming back. I was so gung ho for work, right? But when he went to the NICU, I mean, I ignored my phone. I didn't even open Maid Central. I didn't open anything, right?
Yeah.
I didn't Slack, none of that. This is my son, right?
Right.
And my team held it down. But not just that, Jen, you stepped up too. Because my office manager, she didn't come to me if she had a question. She went to you. And I just
That's
think
right.
that's a huge testament of how having the right network of people, right? So you're
Yep.
another cleaning business owner. You're technically my competitor,
I
even
mean,
though it's not much competition. But
competition at the top, right?
but you see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But my team not only held it down, we hit the 1 mil run rate while I was on maternity, and I'm ignoring my team.
Yeah. That means you
So
like that's a testament to what you've built. Because I want to just to give you a little bit of clarity on that. When I had my son, my second or my only second son, I guess, whatever. Anyway, when I had my last child, I cleaned houses up until 35 weeks pregnant. I had him at 36 weeks and I went back to work at 3 weeks in because at the time I had no systems. I had nothing in place. And it's one of my biggest regrets is that I went back to work too soon. He was very jaundiced in the beginning and was on a light, pretty much the whole 2 weeks of his life, the first 2 weeks of his life. Like I feel like I lost his whole newborn stage between him being jaundiced and then me going back to work. And it's one of my biggest regrets because I didn't have anything in place back then. If I wasn't working, I wasn't making any money. So when I had a client call up and go, "Hey, I really need you," they didn't care that I just gave birth 3 weeks ago. They didn't care if my body hadn't healed. And I was stupid enough to go, "Hey, you know what? I could really use that $30 an hour. Sure. Let me go clean for you and break my back and step away from my newborn because you need a clean house." So I love the difference in where I was when I had my son and where you were. And I love that you were able to step back and be with him in NICU and be able to experience that and not have that robbed from you because you were so worried about how things were going at the office.
yeah, and when he came home, I took an extended absence. I mean, I want to say it
Yeah,
was like 10 weeks I wasn't at work.
I know. I love that so much. I love that your team stepped up.
So, do you have a bonus confession?
So I had that same office manager, and she loves when I tell this story. So if she's listening, she's going to be like, "Man, I'm never going to live this down." She worked for me and was my office manager, and she came to me and she gave us over a month's notice, I think, and she decided that she wanted to go work as a legal assistant or a paralegal or whatever. And she got a deal, like an offer that she couldn't refuse, really. The lawyer was going to pay for her schooling and all of this stuff. And I was like, she was one that I thought that if she quit, I didn't know how I was going to do it because she had ingrained herself so much in the company. And she left. She gave us her month notice, month and a half notice or whatever. And then several months later, she came back and she wasn't happy there. And I'm of the mindset that I want everybody to thrive in whatever position they're in. And if that's not with us, then that's okay. And so I'm glad that she chased her dream. And I'm glad that she found out that yes, it was something she wanted to do, or no, it wasn't something she wanted to do, because that would have always been there. But she came back and, wanted her job back. And she came back and she started back part-time, and she has worked her way back up in about a year back to our office manager because she's just so dedicated and she loves being here so much. And I love that she is that dedicated to the office too. But at the time I thought, what am I going to do without her? I proved that we could grow without her, but now I prove that, with her being back, it's so much better with her being back.
So, I love that story because she didn't just prove herself once, she proved herself twice, and
Right.
she rebuilt the trust, right?
Yep.
I know that you depend on her so much, and I know how much you love and respect her in the position that she's in,
Hmm.
but she earned that.
She
'Cause
did.
she didn't come
Absolutely.
back as office manager. She
No,
came
she came
back
back
like,
part-time.
yeah. And so I think that she's really worked probably double time to get back where she was. And I mean, I have nothing but respect for her for how much she is so dedicated to not just the company, but the mission.
Oh yeah. And the last few weeks we've been really understaffed in the office, and she's quick to come in early if needed. She's quick to stay a little bit late. Like, she wants to make sure that the stuff is getting done. and in a way that she doesn't want it to be a burden to me, which feels very weird because it's my business. And I feel like if anybody should carry the burden, it should be me. But she does her job in a way that she doesn't want to add things to my plate.
So having the right team doesn't just change your business, it changes your life.
Correct.
This episode is a thank you to every team member who's shown up, leaned in, and helped us build something better.
And if you're still in the trenches trying to find your dream team, don't give up. The right people are out there. You just have to stay clear, stay firm, and keep building something worth being a part of. So you know what to do now. Subscribe and follow if you haven't. We're everywhere, guys. There's no reason for you not to. Facebook, Spotify. We even have a website now. We didn't even tell them we have a website. OurBusinessShenanigans.com. Go check out our website. You can subscribe there to the blog. You want to share this episode with your MVP employees and DM us your best employee story ever. We might even just read it on the next episode.
All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. And again, if you didn't catch last week's episode, stop what you're doing and go listen to it.
Yep. Bye, guys.